Hey, what's going on, Dance Fam? Welcome to the first episode of the very first show of its kind, I believe. Welcome to The Session, where we talk about dance, news, reviews, talk, and fun. We have a good time. We got a good show for you. Today, on the first show, we're reviewing the company Choreo Cookies and GRV coming together and presenting commUNITY at Urban Paradise 2016. We're just going to get right into it. New show, new things. Let's see how it goes. I'm the host today. My name is Russ Santos, aka Lock and Robin. Let me introduce who we have here on the panelists. To my left, we have Mike Arellano, aka Magic Mike. What's going on, man?
What's up, guys? Good to be here.
Cool. Next to him, we got Jemuel Valencia, aka JV. Just call him JV. He's known as JV. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Cool. I'm good. Eser Valencia on his left. No relation? Some relation?
All relation.
We're all relation. AKA Sherlock Holmes. Affiliations, you want to get those out the way too?
Yeah, let's go ahead. We just run through that.
Magic Mike, part of Boogie Bot's ABDC Season 2. You guys remember that? You guys remember ABDC?
That was so long
10 years ago almost.
Almost.
10 years ago?
Wow.
Yikes.
2008.
That's second season. Second season.
years.
Yeah, second season.
Yep.
How many oldies we got watching? Remember that?
Season 2. Man.
Culture Shock DC alum. Actually, we all are.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're all DC. Culture Shock DC
CSDC.
alum. We're all part of Tito BoyScouts also here in the DMV.
Tito BoyScouts.
But currently, Magic Mike, you're part of Hyperspace Universe. Want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah, Hyperspace Universe is just another YouTube channel that I just started recently. It's this, a YouTube channel where I just talk about anything science fiction, nerdy, anything in pop culture, especially Star Wars also. So I also do a lot of unboxings of collectibles. I just recently did an unboxing of the Smuggler's Bounty box. So if you guys want to check that out, it's on Hyperspace Universe on YouTube.
Cool. JV Valencia. Former Culture Shock DC artistic director. How was that?
That was an awesome job. Pretty much made me who I was today. And as far as dance, learned a lot from that experience. I guess another affiliation is prior to that, along with the Tito BoyScouts, I was one of the co-founders for Major Definition.
That's right.
In Baltimore, UMBC.
We were all part of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were all part of that too.
We just followed the same track.
What a coincidence.
Follow each other.
So, Eser, in addition to all of the above,
Yes, addition.
you're currently you're on Funk Justice with me.
Yep.
And you're currently with the Baltimore Dance Cruise Project,
Yes, I am.
BDCP Collective.
Yep.
How's that going?
It's going great. Shout out to my friends, close friends, Brian and Cynthia. Y'all are awesome people. So basically what they are getting done up there is working with inner city youth, and we're just helping them get them on track, and we're just dancing with them and making sure they're good to go, sticking with their schoolwork. We're all about that outreach and education and making sure that they have plans for the rest of their lives and looking out for their futures.
And arts and education.
Arts and education, definitely.
Cool. Awesome. And I am pretty much all of the above also. Founded Funk Justice, former CS freestyle captain, director, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same. All right. In addition to reviewing that video, that performance, we're also going to talk about two topics that I think are related to that. First topic will be, is choreography losing uniqueness, and the second topic will be, is the groove disappearing in dance? And we'll get to that. We'll see how it relates to the video in a second. All right, let's get into it. This video, or this performance, I think it's the first time that these three companies / teams came together at Urban Paradise, especially, ever, I guess.
Yeah.
Who wants to start? What do you guys think about it?
I'll take that one. It's not a bad idea. It's not. I don't think it's the first time any teams have collaborated something, and I think it's a great thing. It's dance to me personally has always been about, committing to making sure we send out a great message to the community, and it's read well on stage as well. Not everybody has to be always on that competitive run against each other. You know, like it's an art, and everybody contributes to that.
It seemed really fun. Like they had a lot of fun just being on stage, and they didn't have to worry about too much judgment or being too clean. It was pretty cool.
Yeah,
just about having a good time.
Yeah, it was.
For me, okay, well, I'll get into like general likes and dislikes. But before I do that, I think I can speak on behalf of everyone here when I say that don't take what we say, you know, as law or as, you know, like we're hating or anything like that. What we're saying is just our opinion. Everyone has opinions, especially with dance. We love dance. Yeah. We appreciate everyone who contributes in any kind of way. So there's absolutely no hate. It's all good feelings. It's just, you know, we like watching dance and we like talking about it pretty much. So with that said, what I really like generally were just how they use the stage, you know, especially, you know, with like, I don't know, 60 people plus, I would say.
That was a lot.
Or on and off that stage.
Right.
So they use the stage really well, especially with the platforms. I love platforms.
Yeah.
When it comes to platforms, when it comes to dance, like it's a visual art. So adding platforms really adds a different kind of level to that aspect.
Dimension.
Yeah.
More visual dimension.
Literally, because when it comes to transitions, you know, it's all 2D, left, right, up, down. But now adding the platforms, you add that third dimension. You're going up and down at the same time. It's
AB, select, start.
But then at the same time, if you add those steps, those big props on stage with a big group of people like that, you know, there's kind of a bit of a danger with that.
Sure.
There is running on and off stage.
You know,
there's a lot of times when I was watching that video where, you know, people are hopping on.
They are.
Off. So, you know, it's just make sure that
60 people.
Yeah, you really gotta just make sure that you're safe, and
Yeah, but they did it right. I think.
Yeah, it was a good.
Out.
Yeah,
it was definitely a good risk they took there. I think, you know, like using those platforms, you know, because we're taking it to a new. Not to make it a pun or
a new level.
New level. But you know, in that sense, it was a good way of doing things.
They were playing Super Mario Brothers in real life.
Yeah, I know.
Well, actually, like my thing is, Choreo Cookies isn't. When I see them, when I first saw them, they're known for doing stuff like that. So one of the first performances I saw, they were using moving platforms in their performance.
Moving platforms?
Yeah,
like moving platforms.
And during their dance, so like
so they're used to it.
Yeah, they're used to it.
But, you know, adding two other teams that I'm guessing they've never collaborated with.
No,
right?
This is
I've never seen
the first time they've done this.
So that adds like a whole level of danger, I guess.
Yeah.
Risk, I guess you could say. Man, it looked good though.
Yeah.
Transitions. I really like the transitions they did. You know, it's the whole running on and off stage. Like that's pretty much the general transition for everybody to do. But they did it well. There was one particular transition I liked. It was right after the house part, the house section, and they're in two diagonals. And then there are two groups on either side of them.
right, one downstage, one upstage.
Yeah, exactly. And then the diagonal, the house dancers, they kind of just went opposite of each other. And
Yeah,
that was
a good split off there.
Yeah, it really added something that I thought was pretty cool. I think that was the only transition that I really particularly liked. Overall, I say the transitions were good because they didn't hit anybody. Pretty much. When you have that many people and you don't hit anyone, that's a win, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I feel like that does take a lot of like thought and planning to do those types of transitions. You know, it's all control. Right. It's all traffic control. It's all seamless. But I also feel like, you know, all those types of transitions have been done before. You know, there's the low culture shock run. You go on stage, you hold, but I feel like, you know, is there any other way we can
make it better.
It different? Yeah.
Pushing it, yeah.
You know?
Like going off what Mike says, like
right.
For like normal I guess people who just watching that kind of dancing for the first time, it's like it looks amazing. But as like I guess seasoned dancers, you kind of seen the scene as far as not just in choreography but also studio dance. You kind of get fatigue from seeing the same kind of transitions, and it gets hard on the judges too, in my opinion.
It does get predictable too, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you've judged competitions before. So when you see the same old transition, do you take points off on that, or do you you're like, oh, whatever, aside, I'll put that aside and see the piece now?
Like like I said, if watching it in the beginning of the show, I was like, okay, well, I like that. Then you start you're only human. You start setting standards or benchmarks to like over later on into the show. Like, well, I saw that already. What can this team offer me? And it's really, to me, sometimes show order can make the difference in someone placing, you know. As
if they make their transitions something extraordinary.
Yeah. So that's what, to me personally as a judge, that's what I look for, is individuality and creativity, stepping outside of what we're expecting.
Right. So that's why I bring up that one diagonal thing, because that was like the only thing that was different, I thought.
Yeah, I wanted to get into that too. Like, not to hate on the transitions.
Sure.
Like, I think it was just right for what they did for the size of that stage and the amount of people they had. Though there could have been times, like, I took note that maybe they were just filling it for the sake of filling it in and just like running. Like, I was getting fatigued with just watching them just run on and off stage. It's what they did and it's what they could do, but I feel like they could have pushed themselves more, especially the artistic directors, just to figure out how to be more creative with those transitions.
Well, also, like, I'm thinking that it's 3 companies.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Yeah.
That's understandable too.
Difficult to collaborate. I mean, I'm sure they focused on the pieces itself, and the transitions came after, which is typically how you do it. But, you know, even more so with this performance, since there are the 3, it's just, all right, let's get on, let's get off, let's just make it clean, don't hit anybody.
Right.
Yeah.
And that'll be it. Also, this isn't competition for them, so it's for the crowd, it's for the audience, so it's just whatever, I think. But yeah, I mean, it does add that little extra spice, like if you do take time with it. At this show, they had individual shows or individual sets, so I'm sure this was probably at the back of their mind, like the least of their worries, I think. Anything like stand out for you guys other than that?
What about the song choice? We can talk about that.
Song choice, yeah. It was
this is
interesting.
Roses by the Chainsmokers.
I don't even know what the song's called.
I had no idea what they were,
I
too.
mean, this is a type of song that's, you know, always... There you go. That's the song, right?
I mean, I've heard it on the radio, sure.
Yeah.
But I didn't know who the artist was, but it sounds good.
I tend to change the station or put on my iPod when that song comes on. Honestly, it's not one of my favorites. Like, again, I don't like a lot of music nowadays, so.
Right, yeah.
Though, don't you think, like, maybe sometimes when it's actually put on stage, it changes your opinion a little?
Yeah, absolutely,
it does,
if it's done right. But the thing about the song choice for me in terms of this performance, this song feels one way the whole time, and it kind of except for like the parts where like the house part will break down the remix sections, but generally like the feeling of this song kind of pushes and motivates one particular set of movement, and it's like
just
like
mindset.
sharp, like sharp isolation, and pretty much that's it. When it came to like the remix parts and the groovier parts, they had maybe like 2 groove moves at the beginning, like, oh, this is a different section.
Yeah.
And then
like
after those 2 groove moves, then they go back into the isolation and sharp and hitting and hard. It looks good. I'm not saying it looks bad. It looks great and they're clean with it. It's just, I don't know, it gets tiring. And it doesn't really go with, it does go with the song, and the song is just one note for me. So, I mean, that's what I think when it comes to the song, at least.
Yeah, like I was saying, like the mindset of the song kind of dictates the dancer's movement. And a lot of popular music now is kind of pushing self-empowerment and pride, and like a lot of like, it's all about me. And with this particular song, is just like, and the way the people were dancing is just, okay, we gotta dance strong, but it just, after a while, like I said, the fatigue kind of like got to me, and then the sharpness. And I think what I missed about when especially choreography dance was still green, before a lot of the media put it out there, is there's a lot of artists and choreographers that pushed different styles, and there's very unique. And even if it was a company that had multiple choreographers, you can tell this piece was made by that person. This piece was made, and I think that's happening in the scene now, especially with younger dancers. So it's like the music dictates the movement, and so it's like a sort of a form of propaganda a little bit, in my opinion.
Right.
It's funny how you say it's all about me. Mm-hmm. But like the title that they're giving this is community,
right?
Like unity, like
They emphasize
capitalize. It's kind of a weird song choice that they're promoting unity. But I don't know. I haven't listened to the whole song. So, what does the song say? Like, is it? It's like the only words I remember in that song is "Say I'll never let you
or
go."
like smoke a little weed on a couch in the back.
I mean,
Like I
take it with a grain of salt. I
right,
guess.
you know,
Right.
I don't know. I just, like I said, music now is there's like,
It's like
a
people
lot-
don't listen to
yeah.
actual lyrics of the
Right.
song and what they're
Yeah,
actually
man.
dancing to, you know.
I hate that.
And I'm guilty of
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah,
I'm just listening
we
more
all-
to the beat, and whereas not listening to
the
the
purpose
lyrics. Yeah,
or the,
purpose,
message.
the meaning of the song. Yeah.
I mean, I was just gonna say, like, you know, anytime any of us like make choreography or just freestyle too, it's open to interpretation as
No,
well.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So they may have taken it a different way of whatever they listen to on there, but at the same time, yes, I agree that probably they're just going with just because of the feel of it rather than listening to the actual lyrics.
That's fair. But I mean, I understand it. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
But you can't really just ignore the lyrics.
Oh, no,
someone
not
is,
at all.
Someone is singing the song.
Yeah.
You're dancing to someone's like art, pretty much. You're you're forcing your art onto someone else's art. Like at least when I choreograph or when I do whatever, you know, I pay attention to everything that they did.
Yeah.
Because you know, bringing out, you're trying to make their piece of art even better, pretty much in a different light. But going back to what you said, you know how like you used to be able to see, oh, this person choreographed that section, this guy choreographed this section.
And it's completely different.
Yeah, and I'd say with this performance, like, it's not ridiculous to say, oh, one person probably choreographed the whole thing.
Yeah,
the same way.
probably.
There's no way to distinguish who choreographed that, because I mean, again, it all looks the same.
Yeah, there were certain parts, like maybe two parts that were completely different.
Yeah.
Like the house part and, I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe a different part. But overall, like, you can say, maybe one person just did the whole thing.
Yeah,
Right.
and like I say, movement quality is if I were to put that onto like a Fatty Wap song, like they would probably like it kind of. I don't know. It just like some of the choreography out now is looking like I could see that movement there in the same choreography someone else put in this song too, and I think there's that. I don't know what's happening. Is just I think everyone wants to either look like the next person or like want to prove to the next dancer, the community, that, oh, I'm just as good.
Yeah.
Rather than how can I think outside of the box?
Yeah, and well, actually, that's like our second topic, so we'll get into that.
sorry.
Right after. No, that's fine. Like this is exactly why I chose that topic, because at least I saw it within this video.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's move on to like costumes, like the outfits.
They're all wearing red.
Yeah.
all wearing red.
Like how they emphasize in the very beginning, you know, like
Right.
he's wearing the same thing.
Right.
Wait a minute.
But I think that also helps with the theme of community. You know,
Yeah,
they're all
absolutely.
dancing as
Yep.
one. But at the same time, maybe it would have helped as an audience member, you know, watching them, if I knew who was Choreo Cookies, who was GRV.
Oh, that'd be
who was
cool
the
too.
company.
Yeah.
That would
But
be
I
cool.
guess that would kind of, you know,
Defeat
take
the
a
purpose.
And
that
then
would
they
defeat
take
the
off
purpose, right.
their
at a certain-
layer
Yeah.
and take
Yeah.
off one color.
Well,
Yeah,
it'd be
yeah.
cool if like they all wore different things, like, you know, Cookies Company, GRV, and then he's saying, almost said JV, and then JV was in it too.
and GRJV.
And then I don't know, maybe for like the last piece when they're all on stage, they all wear the same.
Yeah,
thing.
absolutely.
what
That's
I
what
mean.
that I was seeing
Yeah.
it too. It was like
Right.
they should have done it like maybe they all did like their own sets individually, and then like at the end.
Yeah,
they
but
just
then
wear the
again, we
same
don't
thing.
know the logistics, how they
Yeah,
did it.
That's
maybe,
true.
Maybe they want to worry about changing anything.
Yeah, or
Right,
like
yeah.
maybe there was like some GRV people in the same piece as
true.
Cookies people in the same piece.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think there's this one like freestyle section. It was really short. It was section 314.
Oh,
and
right,
It was 3 freestylers, and I guess that was their way of showing that, okay, maybe this person is highlighting our team. This
Oh, I
person's
never
highlighting
thought
that,
about it.
you know
I just
what
thought there were just 3 random people.
Right,
Yeah, me too. I thought that was the thing also.
Right. Just watching it a second time, I don't know. Maybe that's their way of
'Cause, like,
answering that.
Well, going off that, I kind of wish they milked out the freestyles a little
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
The first freestyler he just kind of went out there.
Yeah,
and
he just ran out.
Well, he just kind of got thrown out,
Yeah.
and then he just did a couple things. The second one, she was
Yeah,
good.
she's dope. Yeah, I
And
liked
then
her.
the third one was trying not to fall off the platform.
Yeah, he was trying to be careful. I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked good. It looked fine.
Was he popping?
No, he.
Yeah, like waving.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
he was doing his ISOs and things, but
Felt
felt like there could have been more freestyling at
Yeah.
certain areas. You know,
I mean,
just
I love freestyle. I could always, if it was just all freestyle, I would have loved it too.
but you know,
Yeah. One thing that happens when you wear the same thing, though, is that if everyone's wearing the same thing, you need to be extremely clean.
Yeah.
yes.
Otherwise, one
Oh
simple
my
mess
gosh.
up will like
Everyone will see it.
changes the game.
Yeah.
Like if someone messes up over there,
I see you over there in the
Yeah,
back.
like you're supposed to look like the rest of them.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. I get the whole Unity community thing. It's just something to keep in mind. I guess it's like give and take.
Yeah, as a performer, yeah, you definitely need to just be on point. Like this is a one-shot deal. Like when it's done, it's done.
Yeah.
You can't go back out there and do it again.
There was one particular mess up, like at 3 minutes 34 seconds in. If you guys want to check it out.
Dang, they're getting in on this.
No, I mean because it stands out, but it's also a good thing.
Right.
I looked up. His name is Pat Cruz. Like he he messes up right in the front. It was at the very first build up. So like the whole song is like chill, mellow, ISO, whatever, and then a big build up, and then he starts just one beat early, and like he knows he did because it's on his face.
Yeah,
but it's like he's like. Oh, he kills it right after that though.
Oh
He
yeah,
gets into
definitely.
it and he's
He's
like,
a dope dancer.
oh, and I was like, oh,
Like what? Of course.
like, oh.
No,
he gets into it, but like, if they were all wearing something different,
Yes.
it might have, not have stood out
Right.
as much. But he's in the front. We probably
Yeah.
can't take that away.
definitely that's a lot of pressure. You're put front and center. You better be doing it
Yeah,
right.
man.
Well,
He killed it though.
my thing is for costuming is it kind of like it kind of worries about unity and cleanliness, but as far as like general teams looking the same, and now it's getting into sort of the cheer dance aspect.
Oh, sure.
It's it's everything is sort of being quantified and just like standardized. And to me, as a former artistic director, I didn't really like having everyone wear the same exact thing. Like, yeah, the color scheme should be different, should be the same, but for the most part, it just takes away the artistic individuality of like of people
Of dancing.
Yeah, so like that's what I especially if this is in the realm of hip hop or even outside commercial choreography, urban dance or whatever. Like I think we need to step out of like the studio mindset and have more of like, okay, well, we can dance just as good looking fly rather than just clean,
Yeah.
So
And like, what was I going to say? When people wear the same thing, it helps the audience like look at everyone as a whole, and except as opposed to looking at one person in particular. I know him, or he's good. I've seen him on YouTube. But when everyone's wearing the
that's
same
my
thing,
girlfriend.
Yeah.
when everyone's wearing the same thing, it helps them just focus on the community as a whole, I guess you could say. So that's one thing. It's just give and take, I guess, when it comes to that. But generally, I prefer if everyone wore different things.
Just gives it a little bit more rawness and character.
Yeah. Any specifics that you guys liked about this video, this performance? I guess it's not really a video; it's a video of a performance.
Yeah. I was gonna say about like when the ladies had their own spotlight in the set. Yeah.
The ladies.
It was a great thing. Like they knew what they were doing. Like they owned it. And
the
like
ladies.
For the ladies.
for the ladies, like they had Sora Yang right down center front. Like and she was just murdering it also. But like
We don't condone
By
murder.
design.
I think, yeah, like I said, like I think when we touch back on transitions, I think they could have done something more to
Something
that, something a lot more different. Take that risk because like these are ladies, like you want to see them be ladies, and they're doing like a very femme kind of
And that
choreography.
that
Short-lived.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that goes into like the costuming again. Like they all kind of like unisex outfits, and if you want to highlight some of the ladies, like I want to,
Right.
you know,
Even the guys were wearing tights.
Yeah, you know, exactly.
Why is that a thing now?
Don't make sense.
it goes from
It doesn't.
like, but that's
It's what it is. It's the way things are changing. One particular section that I couldn't totally agree with was at the very end when everyone's on stage. All 3 teams are doing the last piece, the final casting piece. People are on the floor. Everyone's on stage, and the people on the platforms. There was this one part where people on the platforms, it was part of blocking, people on the platforms were holding a move while literally everyone else kept going with the choreography.
Yeah.
And I get holds if it's like a good amount of people and like the effect was better. But it was only 15 people on the platform and like 50 plus people in front of them going. So it looked like they're just taking a break.
They're just that's their breather.
They're chilling.
That's their breather.
They're just chilling.
I think it would have looked a lot better if at least maybe the people on the floor were holding to, or if everyone just kept doing the whole thing.
I noticed one person in the front, they messed up too. There's one specific person, like one hand was up here and then the person next to him was like low.
Yeah.
I did catch that.
it's okay. I'm guilty of doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all had our mess ups.
We're
on
all
stage.
human.
Yeah.
We're not robots. We can't, we can't all be perfect except for certain teams, because there are some teams that are just killing it every time.
Yeah.
But
Remembers Rhythm City.
That's what's happened.
They're good.
Well, going back on what Russ said, that whole hold, like, again, you don't know the logistics of, like, maybe they just didn't know, or they're like, I didn't know the piece, or we didn't come to practice that.
That's
exactly,
fair. That's fair.
They're all coming from different locations, right?
Yeah, it's
like
hard. It's that challenge they have to face.
Yeah.
San Diego, NorCal.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
I
LA.
forgot they're not all in the same area.
I think the greater LA area, I'm guessing.
That's true. So like, you guys, all right, just don't do this. Well, they held it for like 4
8 counts?
4, yeah. No, less than 2 8 counts. Maybe
That's
like,
a lot
So
longer
it's
than we held.
longer than our piece in Austin Powers. Clip right here.
It was so short of a hold. Like, why bother holding it? Like,
Yeah.
I would get it if they didn't know a whole section, and in that case, don't be on stage for it.
Yeah.
But they held it for like 4 counts. Like they were like right here or something like that, and then they just come back in like maybe an 8 count at least.
Yeah.
At
For the
most
end.
an 8 count later.
It's understandable.
I guess what I like, now at first, when I was like in my I guess premature stages as a dancer, what I would look for is the choreography and the staging. Now, more so, I'm actually looking for the music.
Yeah.
And what I like as far as the music goes is they changed it up in the different parts and added the house section or like an isolation section. But and to me that just completes a larger picture.
Yeah. Speaking of house, as our resident like house expert,
I don't know about that.
what
but
would you think of
Okay,
like the house
seasoned
section?
house dancer right here.
my thing is I appreciate as far as representing styles, I appreciate it in choreography, and I appreciate that they are paying homage to it. I don't know their training in it, and I'm sure they have people who are teaching them, but it was okay.
It looked too forced to me.
Right,
Yeah.
it did.
To me, honestly, it didn't really look like house.
They were doing house moves,
Right.
They were.
It was fun.
The vocabulary
Maybe it
was very
just-
present.
Right.
and that's about it. Pretty
Yeah.
much.
But
It just
like-
it looked forced. It looked like they're stomping,
Yeah,
just running into it.
Right.
Pretty much.
and I think that goes with the culture today. Like everyone wants to just get things done, and there's certain things they want to focus on and discipline themselves into other things as far as dance. But as far as us is concerned, like we know and I'm sure everyone in the dance community knows, like it's important to know where it's coming from. A lot of people, a lot of struggle came from those styles.
Yeah.
And I think just paying some discipline to them to get the right effect on stage is a little bit more
At least get the feeling of it.
Yeah.
Like understand the feeling. They know that comes from where it came from and what it kind of gives across the board, like what the feeling should be, like what the audience should feel with it. So when it comes to like styles, urban styles, club styles, whatever, street styles,
Right.
then pay a little bit more respect.
Exactly.
It's not just, it is choreography, but it shouldn't just be choreography. It should be something that really comes across.
And I understand how everything is borrowed from everything else.
Yeah.
But and by no means this is saying like don't do styles in your choreography.
Yeah.
Like it's just like in the beginning. This is opinion. And I like getting down. I'm not really a battler. I just like ciphering. I don't go to too many events just because I don't have money, but to travel as much.
That's a different topic for a different show.
Right. A lot of times, like a lot of these showcases, they're advertising it as hip hop showcase.
Yeah.
It's not hip hop.
Right.
It's not
but
like I
it's
say,
really
commercial choreography.
Right. They just urban showcase or something like
dance.
that. Right.
Exactly.
Right. Even a lot of dance teachers, their classes are called hip hop when it's just teaching like industry choreography type of style instead of just teaching
Street jazz.
Right. Break dancing, popping, locking, A lot of hip hop teachers don't really get into that type of style and history.
We can take that on a different team.
Yeah,
Right.
we could.
if you want.
We could.
Yeah.
But,
Right.
let's wrap it up. Like final thoughts about the video, the performance itself. Let's start with Eser.
Well, one thing I liked.
Okay, let's go, Mike. That's all you.
Well, yeah. Still going. Some of you guys already went over some of the points that I liked already. But I'm also a big fan when I'm watching a performance. I'm a big fan of like moments, like just little moments. There's this one of like section 518. It was a part where they said the lyric was "smoke a little weed on the couch," but it was just this one section where they gasp.
It's like going to DC.
They kind of just group together as a small group, as a clump, and then they're just kind of grooving with it. So that was a kind of their way of, I guess,
Just be chill.
yeah, just breathing and just chilling as a group.
2 groove moves and then back to
Right, that was the only groove move that I caught.
Right.
Also, section 558. I think this was my favorite choreo section where they're really doing like hard choreography, very intricate isolations, and then they ended with this very subtle movement with their head. It was like,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I remember that
Those
part.
moments are
Like,
Those are really
It's
good.
the simple things that really, it's the simple things that really come across really well and stand out the most.
Right.
Those definitely are those moments I appreciate when I see it on the stage.
Yeah.
Like, y'all don't have to try so hard. It just has to be that simple. Like, it just has to be like that. Like, don't have to overthink it or anything. So, like, for any choreographers out there, like, you don't have to push it so hard. Like, it just be simple as like winking your finger like this, and it can be like, oh, that moment.
Yeah. It's a more what's the line from Star Wars? Like a more simple weapon for an elegant time, or an elegant weapon for
an elegant weapon for a more civilized age.
Thanks, Hyperspace
Who
Universe.
says that? Who says that?
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Obi-Wan
So now this
Kenobi.
is Star Wars show now?
I guess I'll go next, but when we're talking about moments, like there was this one moment at 2:47. It's pretty much right at like towards the beginning of the show. The people on the platform, they've been holding it for forever, pretty much. And then like they're just moving, and then when it like I think it was on like a count of 1 or something, they just do a focus change, like a really sharp one.
Yeah.
A really sharp focus change, while everyone in the front on the stage is still dancing, keep going. Like that really stood out to me because they weren't moving for forever, so my focus wasn't there. It was on the people dancing, and then with that simple focus change, I was like, oh. There's people there still. That kind of thing. It really stood out for me the most. But overall, my impression, in terms of stage and dance utilization, like it worked out really well.
Yeah.
Like it was really good. Having that many people on stage performing, collaborating from all across, California to come together and put this together. It really came across well. But ultimately, it is kind of the same style of dance.
It is.
So, 10 minutes after the fact, it's ultimately, unmemorable for me. Like, if someone said, hey, you remember that? Like, probably, I think. It's not
But which one?
Yeah. Which one of that night, pretty much.
Yeah.
Or, that week or that month. It's, compared to what I've seen each of them do individually in sets, and when they're really bringing it for, like, competitions, it's not one that stands out for me. Final thoughts?
Yeah, so I've been a fan of like all 3 teams when in in their starts. Like I love watching Keone and Mari. I love the choreography cookies. Choreo cookies. Just I remember one time when we went to showcase in San Diego for Culture Shock, and their professionalism for choreo cookies is just like they were ready to go, no talking at tech, and then boom, and then half my team was just bawling, crying because I think they did a Miley Cyrus like
the climb.
Yeah, that was really good.
It's stuff like that stands out. Like, that was awesome. How long ago was that?
That was 2009.
And 7 years ago. So it's like this one, it's not going to go in my books as like, I remember that. I remember being there, and I was like, dude, oh, so cool.
Yeah,
that was so crazy.
It's more of it's a crowd pleaser. So it's like, that was pretty cool. It's a good closer. Yeah, that was really good. And then next show, it's like, all right, next thing.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Then like going again, like, so the company, when I first saw them, I think, if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but I think Sean Evaristo was the director, and I saw them.
Showstoppers?
Yeah, they did it on TV, and I was like, that was awesome.
That was when YouTube was, starting.
It was
all
just
these dance
starting.
videos.
So and GRV, like, I have friends who were on it, and like, I've always been a fan of the three teams, and just coming together, doing that was a really fun idea, and I wish that could happen here we're actually in the DC DMV area, with the teams, if that was a thought. But as far as, again, piggybacking, just, I know we might be sounding nostalgic or like old farts, but really I kind of do miss the evolution or like breakthroughs that dance was going through, and now it's kind of leveling out, and I don't necessarily know where it's going, if the music industry is kind of going in a more money making way.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. All right. Well, that wraps that up. Let's move on to the next topic. So going off of this video and pretty much everything that we said kind of like went this way. Is choreography losing uniqueness? So like, if you go to a show, are you going to see the same thing over and over again, and will it be like the previous show where you saw the same thing over and over again?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times, a lot of YouTube videos that I've seen nowadays, watching live performances, they all look the same. I am kind of expecting the same type of show every time. A lot of times I'm just watching the show and I'm like, okay, this looks good. All right, one after the other. There's like no change in style almost. And a lot of times I'm asking myself, so who's performing? What team is this? I'm asking to, the person next to me, who's this? Am I looking in the program? I don't know who it is. So, I mean, yes, it is kind of losing uniqueness.
Why? Why do you guys think that is? Like, why?
I think also, go ahead, Mike. I think a big answer to that is YouTube. Because a lot of people, they don't take dance classes, they just see what's popular online on YouTube, so that's they're just picking back off of those styles
and then take my class.
Right
just trying to blast themselves out there.
They're trying to be people who have found their own style, and made something of it, and just that they think like that's the road to like getting your name out there, or becoming popular, or being the next big hit, or just being important, I guess, is what is like the idea. And I guess that just transitions to the stage when they join teams.
It does. And at the same time, like also like when people are just blasting their choreography, it kind of like, I feel like it's not giving enough credit to those other instructors who actually are stepping out of their own boundaries, but they don't want to post any of their stuff, or they're not popularized. So it kind of gives that unfairness as well. At the same time, it's still choice. Like it is what it is, what any dancer or anybody wants to view on YouTube. But in the end, YouTube is just a resource. It's not the hearsay, all say, thing to like,
unless
to
it's
do.
like an OG and they're talking on YouTube.
Oh, absolutely. Like if it's an OG like Don Campbell or like Shabadoo,
Don Campbell soup. So yeah, the OG videos, like if they're going to talk on YouTube, then then yeah, you can take that as, I don't know, law, I guess, like style law, urban style law,
Martial.
dance
I guess.
law. Like, I mean, if Don Campbell like says, "Oh yeah, this is how it started," then you're gonna take it like, okay, probably is because he did start the locking. So
Yeah, of
why not?
course. Or like you listen to Brian Green. I've taken his class, and it's just
Oh,
he works
that
you
dude
out.
likes to talk too.
He loves to talk. Love you, Brian Green. He's an amazing guy.
So people, I mean, or choreography losing uniqueness probably comes from YouTube, like in general. I mean, so like people are flocking towards that one particular style, like the isolation, or I know you've described it as like kind of like lyrical hip hop ish type. Do you think like I want to say like these are two people that I feel like it came from, at least, Keone Mari. Do you think like this particular style, like that everyone's kind of branching off into and kind of tweaking it in different ways? Do you think it came from them, or it started with them? Started from the bottom, now they're there?
I think they're one of the main choreographers who have started that. I think the first time that I heard lyrical hip hop was from So You Think You Can Dance with Nappy Tabs.
Oh, true. Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
And I think
That's true.
Right. They choreographed a dance to Bleeding Love.
Oh, that was amazing.
Yeah. And so that was when they called it lyrical hip hop. So they're, incorporating, hip hop industry choreography along with, sort of like a smoother lyrical style.
So Nappy Tabs, Keone Mari, like two powerhouse couples, really driving that particular style into, I don't know, I guess what you see nowadays on stage. Just isolations, moving one particular thing at a time.
Yeah. And it's not just the movement itself, but they also add, themes and messages to their whole choreography and to their set and videos. What are other performances in like...
So You Think You Can Dance?
No, I mean like YouTube videos that they've done.
They like Keone Mari. Recently, they were doing a dance video for Justin Bieber's "Love Yourself."
Love Yourself.
Yeah.
That one's like pure lyrical.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, one thing was Daydream.
Oh yeah, Daydream.
Adele.
That was a good one. They did way back. That's a throwback right there.
So when it comes to like these YouTube videos and like, I guess like I don't want to say like they are professional dancers, like the really popular ones at least, like Chris Martin and all of them.
Right.
They all kind of generally move the same, I think, but you can still see their own flavor of it.
Absolutely,
for sure. But like, I think when people are watching YouTube or want to learn dance, they go to these particular dancers who kind of have and kind of do dance, very similar, at least in the same general movement. So then, they take that, bring it to their teams. When they choreograph for their teams, it kind of looks like it. You see it on stage. People watching people on stage. It's one after the other.
Yeah.
Well, I guess to piggyback off that is so primarily what was getting traction when I was still growing with dances, they had the means for it was West Coast dancers.
Yeah.
And prior to that, in different areas, there's very distinct styles, especially here in the DC area. There's distinct styles in New York, distinct styles in the South. And when the traction of media came on to, I guess, expose it to the world, especially in American pop culture, that type of dancing, this West Coast dancing, is kind of being assimilated into a lot of the studios, a lot of, college campuses. Just like what they see is what they do. And that's kind of drowning out the actual natural, I guess, uniqueness of different areas. Like
True.
back, like I like to parallel choreography dancing or urban choreography dancing to the styles back then. Like, a lot of dancers from Baltimore and Jersey and New York had like club style houses, very different, locking and popping in the West Coast. So those regions, they didn't have much exposure, but it was there. The biggest exposure is b-boying. That's very, very, very raw talent. Very, very, like, it almost owns their area. And what the media did is assimilate the choreography styles to even overseas now. Korea, Philippines, New Zealand, Australia, like everywhere. And so it's not necessarily anyone's fault or anyone's, like, I think it was just how technology happened and how music happened.
Right.
Yeah.
So when technology happened, pretty much YouTube, when that happened, everyone was connected. Everyone could see how everyone else dances, and they like it because it's not what they've seen around them.
Yeah.
So then they take that. It just so happens that when certain people are very popular, that it comes from that area, SoCal, Southern California, and it just translates to everywhere. And everyone wants to try and be the same. When before YouTube, everyone was isolated, and they kind of grew up with each other, dancing and learning off of each other, still wanting to be different on their own right, making their own styles, finding their own styles. And couple that with, with nowadays, like, everyone wants to dance.
Yeah,
everybody. It's like the new thing.
Yeah,
like when we were learning, like
it wasn't just a thing.
It was like, I don't know, maybe a handful of people within a group, like wanting to dance. Now it's like you have to dance, otherwise you're not cool or popular.
Right. Like how everybody's like into Star Wars and Marvel things,
Well, yeah, like when the movies come out, that's a different show.
Yeah, different thing. But
everyone's just hopping on that bandwagon.
So Civil War's coming out, and it's gonna be good.
But you can see the parallels between these kinds of topics. People just want to jump on that bandwagon.
Yeah, bandwagoning. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
And I think a lot of young people aren't conscious about, one, the struggle, and two, like what people did or why they did it. They were more so when it was first coming up, is like, I want to share my experiences with you. I want to share my individuality and my creativity. I want to share my partner with you, Keone and Mari. I want to show, like, this is what we represent. And now I think a lot of young people, a lot of young dancers aren't conscious about what they represent. They just want to be part of something.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And
they want to teach.
Yeah. So and they're not conscious about, what am I going to teach these people that they're paying $15, $20, $56 for a convention, $100-something for a convention. What am I going to teach them other than how to move fast that I can't do on YouTube?
Yeah. Yeah. And most classes nowadays, it's like you go there and you don't learn anything besides what that piece is.
Absolutely.
And generally that piece is just something they put together
the night before,
the morning of. And it's like, okay, well, so I guess there's a difference between like a teacher and someone who teaches class, right? So I don't know, it just stems all over. It goes all over the place, and it's kind of hard to pinpoint where we went wrong, I guess. Where the world's going wrong,
or in the end, like, is it really anyone's fault? Because
no one's fault.
We're just utilizing what we have.
Yeah, evolution, I guess you could say.
Yeah, but I still think, especially for these kinds of arts, like, it's no excuse still just to solely learn from technology. We have to still branch out, be ambassadors of our own craft, and own it. Take class. That's the end all be all right there. Yeah. Like, this is where you take away from things. But
that's the thing.
But yet again, I know what he's saying. Like,
taking classes,
it's still difficult to pinpoint who's a good teacher. That's what I look for when I go out to take class now. I want a good teacher, not just a good choreographer.
Right. Yeah. Choreographer versus teaching. It's just,
because you'll have those, those teachers who just come and, they want to get booked, they want to get paid, they go, they teach, and then that's it.
They just want their 15 seconds.
Right.
I would rather teach a workshop for free, like if they don't pay me anything.
Right.
And have people take something away from it rather than getting paid to just put stuff out there.
Wasn't there this one tweet from Keone who said that, are all these dance videos, are they actual classes or are they just dance
I do remember that
shoots,
tweet. Yeah. Keone did post
retweeted
that.
Retweeted a lot.
Yeah.
But I wonder if the people that retweeted, actually...
They mean it. Do they mean it when they retweet?
But yeah, no, it's a thing. Like, classes, not just for the teachers, but for the students also, are turning into... like,
it's money making, man.
Or like, opportunities to get your name out there, I guess, or just so people can. It's like a showcase, pretty much. Even people taking class, they have people record them taking class and like finishing the piece and say, check me out in the latest class, I'm really improving and whatever. It's like, that's great, but like,
how is that benefiting everyone
what are you really in class for?
Right.
You know, that kind of thing. And I don't know. I mean, this is turning into like a whole different topic.
Yeah.
But like when it comes to like choreography, like,
Losing groove.
losing uniqueness, groove is next. But when people are dancing at the same competition or show, it gets repetitive, it gets boring, and then you just start to lose interest, in my opinion. For me, that's why I barely watch videos, because I generally know how it's going to go.
Yeah,
right.
It's just very hard now to filter that, because like you just watch the first few seconds and you can already predict it. If you've been seasoned for that long, you can already tell.
Yeah.
Like I want to go back to what Mike was saying. When you go into a showcase, a hip hop or urban dance showcase, you just have, I know personally, I agree with you that I still have that anticipation. Like, am I going to see something different today?
Yeah.
Am I going to witness like something that's pushing these young artists to their limit, beyond their own boundaries, beyond their own means?
Maybe something new.
Yeah. And I still support them. I still support our dance community. Don't get me wrong. I love seeing them. They're great people, and I love seeing the growth, but I just want to see them push themselves harder.
Yeah. And it's hard, to play devil's advocate here. It's hard. I think it's hard for people who are, when dance is their full-time job, to really do something new every time when they have to make money. Like that's how they live, that's how they make a living.
Yeah.
So I get it. Like I get that it happens, but I don't know. Like where do you draw the line? Like when does the give and take become more give and less take, or more take and less give? You know what I mean? When it comes to we keep coming back to them because they're awesome. Like Keone Mari, every time I see a new video, it's new. Like it's something they do completely different. It's still them.
You'll never skip it.
No, I won't.
Never.
Right.
It's totally them, but it's, I don't know, they push themselves every time. It's something different.
Right. I think another example, choreographer that I've been following for a long time is Philip Pac-Man Shabib.
Oh yeah. His stuff has been great lately.
Right. He's also been on So You Think You Can Dance. He was on ABDC with I Am Me, and his whole style is not just popping, but I don't know, his style is totally different from everyone else that I've seen.
It is, but it's a good weird.
I don't know, he kind of does all this bone breaking type stuff. Bone
breaking stuff.
Just like that.
Christina Aguilera.
And I think for I Am Me on ABDC, they called their whole style was brain banging.
That's good. That's a good name.
Right. So they do a lot they're a very visual type of team. And I think something that could help all these teams who look all the same is to find their identity, and find their individual styles to set themselves apart from everyone else. Yeah.
And I get it, especially in a smaller dance community. Yeah. You're not going to get a lot of cheers when you're different. Yeah. Or a lot of hey, or ooh, or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
So that kind of unmotivates them to keep doing something different. So say in an all choreography showcase, you see one particular group that does something completely different, and they get less cheers because the audience is looking for that one particular thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The whip.
It really diminishes
or a
will.
Backflip.
Yeah.
I mean, at the same time, the audience could be reading it as they want to understand it, because that's why they're kind of quiet there.
Right.
And because it is a new generation every year, basically, they're exposed to something particularly new, not new for us, but it's still new to them. And, that's what they want to see. They want to just take it in before actually cheering for it.
And it's also hard for the actual performers, because if they don't have any reaction from the audience, you kind of
don't want to dance anymore.
Right. It kind of it kind of discourages you. What am I doing? Am I doing this right? Do they not like it?
Yeah. Well, that also goes back to being conscious about what's their purpose. I think dancers now aren't conscious of, they just feel like this is what we found, this is what we want to hold on to, but we're only going to share it with our own community, rather than they should be sharing it with the world. And they should be conscious about their audience. They're not all going to be dancers. They're not all going to be people who get it. And that's the challenge, is to touch those audience members that aren't dancers. And that's where it's kind of losing its uniqueness, in my opinion, is because we're always so starting to get inclusive it's getting really inclusive. If you're a dancer, then you get it. But then, so we're just going to dance like the next team. We're going to push our boundaries, or we can sort of do that a little different. But I think we got to start rethinking how we approach performances.
Mm-hmm. So like back to cookies, like when they did the climb, did anybody cheer during that? Like during the whole thing?
No, it was just...
It was quiet, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and like, again, that's one of the songs, I mean, Smiley Cyrus, The Climb, I guess back when she was like, I'm not going to say anything. But like, you know, that's one of the songs I don't listen to all the time, but they made it like stand out like crazy. And made it really, they brought out the best in that. And like, they did something completely different, and they didn't get any cheers. I think...
Until the end.
Yeah, well, yeah, until the end. Right. But I think like, if... You know, on the flip side of it, if you do something really artistic and something that really pushes the boundaries, and you're not getting any cheers, it's because they're like in awe, or like they're trying to understand like what is going on, like And I think that really encourages more. I think you can probably, or people would benefit more from not understanding than understanding.
Yeah,
because then it'll make them want to, you know, look for the answers, or why did that happen, or how can I do the same thing? How can I be different? That kind of thing.
So it's like setting a theme to your performance, right?
Yeah, setting a theme to your performance, just doing something different.
Yeah.
You know, if they don't understand it, that might be a good thing.
Yeah.
It's just give and take, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to uniqueness, everything's give and take.
Like, it gives that inspiration to our non-dance audience, as well as like for those that are dancers in the audience. They can push their inspiration, and it gives them more that motive to like, how can I do something different now? Like, we just have to keep, like, not us in particular, but like everyone else should just keep that in mind when pushing their own choreography or their own style of dance.
Well, so that goes back to like, they need to find their own style, as opposed to
just have to
trying to emulate what they see on YouTube, or like the people they look up to. Like, look up to them for a reason, and like they do, because their style is great. But what makes them like stand out the most is that they're different in what they do.
Their hard work,
generally.
That's years of training.
Yeah, it's not something that you can just come up with overnight, unless you're, you know, freaking awesome. Which, you know, some of them are like, given.
Absolutely.
Sora Yang.
Shout out to Sora Yang.
Shout out to Sora
Yang. So wrapping this topic up, is this like a good direction for dance? Bad direction? Both?
I think when I was talking to my cousin, if you guys know Cress, Valencia, he's dancing with Ray Bassa out there in Clubhouse in LA. We were having this conversation, and he was saying any type of media, it's going to go through ups and downs, and I think this is at its kind of like, it needs to kind of go down before it needs to rebuild again, in my opinion. Like, it's the same with music. Like, if you listen to what's being played in the clubs now, and it's not really, to me, in my opinion, it's not really offering much to the listener.
No.
It's fun for a while, but then when we were partying at a local bar down in DC, it was just, okay, well, didn't I just hear this song like 20 times? Like, this is cool, but you know, it's all same message. It's about money. It's about getting drinks. It's about women. It's about cars. It's all about material aspect rather than what are they giving the user.
Yeah, so music has a big, it plays a big role in this.
It's our silent partner.
Music is, you know, starting to sound the same. So with that, we're all dancing the same.
I mean, yeah,
New York.
Right now it's just at that plateau point, and we just have to see it through, and just how it has to be. We just need to keep pushing, I guess, as seasoned dancers, like, especially, we just have to keep pushing for now, just to influence and teach the younger generation to know what's creative, what can push their creativity, like give them that critical thinking, and we can just only hope for the best, and like, you know, dance has that outside influence as well. Like, we don't know what's going on with these dancers. You know, they have their own like lives. They know what's pushing them. Like, on a psychological level, you just have to go for it. But just wait and see.
Yeah. So I like what. Sorry to cut you off, but
No.
I like what you and Cress said. I guess like you need to break it down before you can build it up. It's kind of like there was no art back until the Renaissance happened, and then an explosion of creativity just happened with Leonardo, Michelangelo, all of the Ninja Turtles.
Yep.
Splinter
was there.
So hopefully,
Man, I can't wait for that video game.
hopefully there'll be hopefully there'll be a dance renaissance of some sort. Ooh, that's a good name.
Ooh.
The Renaissance or something.
Renaissance
that should be a
Festival.
show name.
Or like
Dance
Ooh.
Renaissance.
Dance Renaissance.
All right.
Don't take that.
Copywritten.
Yeah. We're going to patent that. That's going to be patent.
Oh yeah, what all y'all said. It's good.
Cool.
All right.
No, I mean, like, what all you guys are saying. Everyone should, think outside of the box and push themselves to, better themselves as dancers. But also, dance is also an ever evolving dance form where we all learn from each other. So, I mean,
Offer something new.
yeah.
All right. So this, that relates to the next topic. Is the groove disappearing in dance? Like not just choreography, but dance in general.
Like party.
Like party moves. The new party moves. So not the Running Man.
Do the whip.
You got the whip. You got the nene.
Tita Nene.
The dab.
The dab.
Yeah, what is?
I still don't understand
Yeah,
that.
I still don't understand that.
I
Either.
mean,
It's just a thing. Like
you can equate it to like how locking came out, you know?
yeah.
It's like one move, but then I don't think there's not enough time for it to really develop. So like there's always a new thing. So that's why there's not a dance style that's forming out of these new trends. It's just a trend now.
yeah. So like the Running Man, that was never part of a particular thing.
No, it
It's just
wasn't.
something you did.
Yeah.
But like, you actually moved.
Right.
You actually really engage your body. After you do it for like 2 8 counts, you're tired and you're breathing heavy.
I mean, maybe the Quan.
But like,
Hit the Quan.
it was like the nene's been around for a while now,
Yeah,
and
it has.
it's just the same thing. The only thing that people can do different with it is just doing something before that and then going into it, and that's it's new. It's like cool, but the whip.
That
So
whip.
it's the groove disappearing in dance. I think it has to come with. I think it comes with the music, like rap music. Isn't
It's not.
it's not groovy. It's not
No,
hip hop
it's not.
anymore. Pop music, EDM. It's coming from.
Yeah,
it's
it
all,
is.
It's all leaning towards the same general thing, and there is a style that came out of it. Shuffling.
Yeah.
And the really good ones, like if you see on YouTube,
They're dope.
they're dope.
They're really crazy good.
They're really good. So that's awesome. But like when it comes to dance, like the party scene here in the club, it's not really. No one's really grooving or moving their body. They're
Everyone's
moving
just has
their lower
this-
halves, maybe.
It's either or in the club, but this is their new dance.
They're just standing.
Checking their phones.
Oh, there it is. All right.
like like
Pour it out.
Everybody got to take a few drinks, and then by a few, like 5 or more, until they get like really in like a groove.
Yeah.
So, what is actual groove in dance? Like,
Yeah.
What's your
I
how
would
would
say-
you describe a groove?
Yeah, I would describe it as actually engaging your body,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
your full
or
body?
your
Yeah.
full body, more than just doing it like once or twice. Like in the video, in the Unity community video, they go boom, cat, 1, 2, and then doom, doom.
Yeah, it was just that moment.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, let it ride. Like the groove is still there in the music.
Yeah.
And you just kind of like it's like kind of saying hello to someone and then driving off.
You're paying the
Like,
toll.
hey.
Yeah.
It's like when I saw you on the street last week or a couple weeks ago. Hey,
I'm going home.
and then I drove off.
Like he's one of my closest friends, and just said, "Hey."
Yeah, and I don't know. I like it when people move their bodies. It really engages you. It kind of makes you want to move too.
Mm-hmm.
But when people are just doing ISO or hard hitting moves and sharpness, it's like you don't want to do that. It doesn't. It's appealing to the eye.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make you want to move. Like the
Yeah.
rest of it, at least.
My definition of groove is like, I guess, what comes naturally. Like you don't naturally stick stuff up. Even if you're, I don't know, like if you're in the shower, just listen to some music. Like if you, I don't know, I've seen a couple of dogs just like on YouTube when they put a house track on or something.
Oh my
I thought you were going to go a different way with this.
No.
But yeah, I know what you're talking
Like-
about. The salsa dog, too.
Oh yeah, like they just there's still a bounce to it, right?
There was this one
Like,
dog who saw her owner. She was like,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
And then they put music behind it.
like what I say is natural is like we've constructed a way of moving that is like more visual rather than just what feels good.
And Brian Greene preaches this all the time.
Yeah.
Like, if you ever take his class, he always says, ballet dancing, that's not natural. Like, you're uptight on your toes the whole
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
It's not natural.
It's beautiful. But
Stepping and hitting hard and just moving your body any which way you can, that's natural.
Yeah.
And that's what really engages other
well,
people.
there are
to do
more
it, too.
flowy type moves in
Sure.
in ballet.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
But
kind of
generally,
run across.
with the posture, I'm guessing,
Right,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
not natural, like being like hunched over and like just really moving.
Yeah.
Then that's like more natural, and that's like more appealing for other dancers to kind of incorporate and do also. Ballet is like a very visual performing art, and it's good. It is what it is, and it's great.
goes to classical music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, touching back on the music aspect, I think it just reflects on that too, because that's what makes us dance. We need music. So, it's just a reflection there, like, it just how these dancers are just wanting to emulate what the song is trying to portray. So, I just think it's not, the song itself is not giving itself that time to really let those particular moments flow. Like, a lot of the music now is just like blaring or just like hard hitting
Or
at the
just
same
particular
time.
beats.
Yeah, it's nothing like really like you just want to get into it. It's just more like I'm numb to it.
Well,
I seriously am.
There's still music being produced.
No,
It's just,
there is.
No, it's just not being put out in the mainstream.
Right.
So,
And then when it comes to choreography, and say they do a style, locking, or in the case of the video, house, popping, breaking, whatever. Even that, like, they're losing the feel, but at least kind of maintain the groove of it, which isn't apparent usually all the time. And what and it kind of begs the question, or makes you want to ask the question: are they performing in the spotlight or performing, for the spotlight? You know what I mean? Are they on stage performing just to be in the moment? Or are they performing so that they can be on stage and people can see them perform it?
everyone has different motives.
Yeah.
They do.
And I think, that's a big part of it. So, like, even, like, good lockers. Okay, well, I'm not going to say anything. Like, people who learn locking, they're really sharp, like, they can clean a move, like, all day and be really sharp with it. But when they do it with other people on stage or even by themselves on stage, it just looks so stiff and, like, rushed through, and just the feeling and the body movement and the groove just isn't there. I mean, and I don't know. That's just my opinion, I guess.
Mr. Popper. Mr. Resident Popping.
huh?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else like you guys want to say about groove? Like, is this a good direction, or does this kind of tie into what we said before? Like, it needs to break down before it can start to build up. Will people get tired of this? I guess.
I'm sure it will. A lot of people I've already talked to, they're tired of it too. Even non-dancers, like a lot of my coworkers are like, they don't understand it. But that's just them too.
True.
But at the same time, I have to agree. Like, it's just becoming more like, can we do something new?
So it's just all tied together, I guess.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I think it has to do with pop culture, and it needs to kind of be broken down, like you said.
Like you said.
like you said that I said.
I also feel that, like, just because like this loss of groove and this period needs to happen, like it's losing that social aspect that dance calls for too. Like, I appreciate it when like when we emulate choreography or any type of dance on stage, like, you want to portray yourself to the audience as well as relate to them. That's that social aspect too that's being lost.
Yeah.
Do you think it's easier to not groove than it is, or like, say, like, these with these harder hitting moves, whatever. You think it's easier to dance that way than it is to, like, pick up style, learn the foundation, learn whatever?
I think it's how they grew up.
You think so?
Yeah.
Because when I grew up, my parents were always listening to the soft rock disco music.
That's true. Yeah, me too.
So
that's fair.
And they're growing up into this type of music, so it's not.
Yeah, that's
again.
a good point. Yeah.
It's
It
just how they
is. Think
grew
about
up.
that. Yeah.
It's a good, fair point.
Yeah, even the boy bands back then moved it.
Yep.
Joyful tone, joyful tone, and thank you.
So music, music has a really strong hold, and it's a big influence. At the same time, you can kind of influence the way, or you can choose to how you want to influence how people will hear the music with your dance. So, I don't know. Maybe it's just a matter of actually doing it, like saying, "Okay, hey, I'm gonna try something different with this. I'm gonna move my body with this." And if you can't,
without having the fear of being judged.
Jesus.
Yeah.
without the fear of us talking about it,
Right.
But I mean, hey.
Man, DanceFam was going to talk about.
But I mean, hey, that's the territory that it comes with. You're just gonna have to expect that and suck it up.
yeah, and like a lot of people hated on Michael Jackson.
Yeah, of course.
A
See,
lot of people hate that he stole moves.
Yeah. Borrowed moves. It just so happens that he made them popular because I don't know.
Yeah.
But he made great music, and
yeah.
he has more followers than he does haters. So
Yep.
I guess it just all comes down to that. But I guess I don't know. Wrapping it up. Any final thoughts about everything that we talked about today? The video, choreography, losing uniqueness, groove disappearing. Are you excited for the future?
Yes. I think for me, I want to just wrap up with, like, when it comes down to it, I want dancers to be more conscious of what they're doing and who are they representing. Yeah. That's my biggest thing. And if you do things for the right reason and you know in your heart that it's this is what you believe in, then make it your own. But there's a soul and a heart to this art. And on the topics we covered, soul, groove, choreography, like classes, YouTube, everything, just know your purpose and your identity.
Just like how you said, find your identity, push yourself, take class, and find your right motive for why you're dancing. People say that they're using it as an outlet. Is it really an outlet for you, or are you just doing it just because it's popular,
right?
Just because you want to be on YouTube, just because you want to get those views,
get paid.
Also get paid, and also step outside of the choreography scene. Also start to freestyle, find your own style. I know for me as a dancer as well, I kind of had that fear of taking that step into the cypher, and I always feel hesitant to do that, but I guess take that fear out of the way, step over that mountain and just go for it.
For me, like, it just always comes down to the question why. So ask yourselves as dancers, as artists, like, why are you doing it? And just keep doing what you do. Like, just ask yourselves these questions, like, question everything, not like to drive you crazy or anything, but it's a good to understand more rather than just see and do, like monkey see, monkey do. There's nothing wrong with just taking your own opinion, forming it into something more productive, and ask why.
Yeah, and pretty much everything what you guys said, but I guess the key thing to kind of remember, or that I would encourage people to remember, is that dance ultimately is an art. It's not, it is one art, or one form of art that is taken advantage of a lot for whatever reason, but just try and, find your art, pretty much. Find out who you are. And with that said, we'll wrap up today's episode. I want to thank all you guys for being here. Let's go down the line. Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Wrapping it up, let's start with Mike. Where can we find you, man?
You can find me on Twitter at Arellano, and also Instagram at Hyperspace Universe.
Cool. JV, where can we find you? On Facebook, right?
Yeah, just Facebook. Not really on the interwebs, but I am always sitting next to my coworker George Fronda.
Shout out to George.
Hey, George.
Eser, where can we find you, man?
You can find me here in the United States of America.
Cool. We'll go there.
All right. Yeah. Just Google Earth me. But you can find me on Twitter at Sherlock Holmes, or you can find me on Instagram, Val Circa.
Cool. And I'm Russ Santos, the host. You can find me at Lock and Robin. But this is it for Dance Fam. Really, you know, if you liked what you saw, if you want to see more, like us on YouTube. Every outlet, you'll find us at DanceFamtv. Like, subscribe, all the above.
If you comment below.
Yeah, if you have opinions, and we know you do, and don't agree with us for whatever reason, or do agree with us, leave a comment. Be gentle. Cool. See you next time.
Later.
Yay, let's eat.
Let's eat.